So, hello. Thank you for joining me. I just want to talk about this WTCC championship with you. Do you like these cars?
Uh, I like these cars, but I feel like these cars are quite easy to drive. Probably much that I would like because I feel like it's quite easy to stay on the track, but the the most difficult about this car is being fast. It's good for the for the championship this because many people who weren't as fast as now with the Formula Ones can fight with us, like Josete, Aceite, and many other drivers who were quite slower with the open wheelers, and they are with us.
Okay. Which has been your favorite track of the championship so far?
I have two favorite tracks. And those are Sebring and Road Atlanta. I know I've been running them there many times in iRacing, in some endurance races, and I know them since like 3 years, and I enjoy them a lot all the times I drove them.
Okay. Which is your least favorite track of this championship?
The the only track I did enjoy this championship was Croft. I feel like it's quite plain. There's nothing interesting on it, or at least I feel that was when I was driving it. But anyways, I had a really good race there, so I can't complain.
Thank you. And which is your favorite race? The actual race of this season?
This season, the race I enjoyed most was the first race of Sebring, from 10th to second, and like half a second behind Marete, who was P1, and I think I overtook everybody in the front, and because there weren't many crashes, and I enjoyed it a lot because it was our first race within the championship, and we never tested a rule top 10 inverted standing in this championship.
And what do you think about your battle with Adrian Jimenez for the championship? You two are quite close, and it's been back and forth with who's winning the championship all season. I just want your thoughts on that.
I don't. Well, I want to win this championship, but I won't care if I lose this championship in the last race. If I finish it fighting with him, he had also a penalty in the first race of Macau, and I had one in the second, but I just lost 2 points because I lost the fourth position and he lost the second position of his first race, and he lost 4 points. So I think he was 18 points behind me, and for him, I think it's a little bit difficult to score more points than me at the end of the season if I don't have any big mistake in Dubai.
Okay, and last question. What would you like to see in future championships run by LVF1?
My desire for the future championships is clean fights and good races in the front and also in the back. I just want a good racing. That's all. If
Okay,
I have to choose for cars, I would like to drive another time the B10 F1s from the last years of 90s or the first years of this century.
okay. Thank you. And looking forward to seeing you on track for this week's race.
Thank you, Charles.
Welcome back, viewers. So there was the voice of Carlos Feno, just giving some insight into the thoughts of a championship contender there on this championship in R Factor 2. Now, we do have a few minutes before we go on board for the lap with Danny. However, we're looking at the circuit there. You can see that the track temperature, um, it is quite warm in Dubai. Um, the weather doesn't look like it's going to start raining. We've got quite fair weather out here at the moment. Um, this is a circuit which is quite fast and flowing at most parts of it. There are no corner names for me to remember, just lots of corner numbers. So these drivers will be finding it difficult in places with these cars because the small little hatchbacks of the Hondas, we know that they're quite good at certain types of circuits. We know that they've got high speed, whereas the long wheelbase cars, such as the Lada and the Volvo, etc., they're going to be faster at other parts of the circuit. It's definitely one of those tracks that caters to both cars, and you will see that today on the circuit itself. In terms of lap times, I know we don't have any graphics up at the moment as they're just doing a little warm up session before we get qualifying underway. We've got about another 5 minutes before that gets going. But looking at times, we have Adrian Jimenez at the very top. We have seen this before. He's done a 152.922, so we're expecting to see something similar to that in qualifying. Right behind is Danny 01 on a 153.496. So that's 5 tenths between first and second. It's quite a large gap, and with no Feno there to buffer Jimenez, it could mean that Jimenez uses that pace to get away. Unless anybody's sandbagging at this stage, we just don't know. In terms of people on the server, we have 13 on at the moment. 16 people have set a hot lap in the history that the server has been running. So we do expect a few more drivers on. Whether they make it for the first race or the second race is anyone's guess. We do have a few minutes till qualifying begins, so no pressure at the minute. In terms of outright lap times, nobody else has been in the 52s. Danny 01 does have that second best time, 53.441, so it is just about 5 tenths behind Jimenez. Behind that, it's another couple of tenths to his teammate Disappointment, who's done a 53.6. Jose THD 53.6. So again, very, very close race times. If we see that in qualifying or in the race, it's going to be tight. And as you can see, that we've got 13 laps in race 1, 11 laps in race 2. That might actually be the other way around because we usually have the longer race second. And you can see the track length there, 3.349 miles, or for anyone metric, 5.4 kilometers almost. It's quite a long track. It is a very long track, and to be doing that under 2 minutes, you're traveling at some pace, some real pace. So yeah, we're looking forward to. I mean, the Cheetah Racing team, they've been up there. They've been acting like a bit of a great white shark, because it is Shark Week, as everybody knows, I'm sure. We're going to go on board with Danny in the Cheetah Racing team, and we're just going to watch a lap around this circuit. So here we go. Down this very long straight, and you can see how much speed we're carrying, almost like Macau. So this is turn 1. We're braking just before the 50 board, and then sending it in, collecting that apex without unsettling the car too much before smashing the curb at turn 2. We're hoping nobody goes too tight into that corner. That could cause a problem with those objects on the left. Turn 3 is really fast. It's not really much of a corner, unlike turn 4, which does have a bit of an apex to it that you have to thread through the eye of a needle. Turn 5 is pretty much the same. That's going to set you up into the braking zone for turn 6. So you'll usually be on the brakes about here. As you can see, just leading into turn 6. before you sling it around for 7, which is far, far tighter than turn 6. So tight and twisty up to this stage. 8 and 9 are quite flowy, quite flowy. Turn 8 isn't much of a corner. You do still need to balance the car through here, especially as you're just getting onto the brakes now for turn 9. And that'll slingshot you down an extremely long straight as we see the exit here, and you cannot see the braking marker at the other end when you come out of that corner. Usually around about here, you start to spot your braking point. So it is a very long straight indeed, and we come down to the braking zone. This is turn 10, very, very tight. So it is a long time on the brakes, probably trail braking in there for a lot of the drivers. And then we'll come down to turn 11, which is more of an acceleration corner. Again, you still got to keep the car very balanced through here. You don't want to unsettle it, as it is a bit of a straight run now, all the way down through these kinks down to turn 12. Now, turn 12's a little bit difficult. It can catch you out, as the rear end does like to step out here. But this will not be a problem for the top drivers, I am sure. And now we come down another long section of track. So if you do mess up on the exit of 12, this is going to cost you down to 13 as we come around. Again, this will be flat, but they won't be taking it very tight, as they will be heading out to the outside of the track for braking, and then into turn 14, which is very off camber. It's a very steep climb. So this is one of the places where I will be expecting cars to understeer. As we've just lost the graphic there, but then you would have turn 15 and finally 16 that you can see in the distance on your screen in the background. So this is one of those circuits where, like I've said earlier, there are parts of it that suit longer wheelbase cars with a bit more mass, carry a bit more speed, have a bit more grip. And then there's other parts of the circuit that just suit the shorter wheelbase Hondas so much better. And as I was saying, that before we jumped on board with the Cheetah Racing team, they've been there in the distance, just waiting to attack like a great white shark. You've just seen an onboard from Danny there, who has just gone faster than Jimenez in the warm-up session, 4/10 faster on a 52.528. We could see something here. We could really see something here from the Cheetah Racing team. We don't have every driver on server just yet. We are up to 12, however, and we do have some of the Team Hondas there as well. Great news is that Rodriguez and Ronaldo Edo are here for Sad Bombs GSR. Unfortunately, Fenno is not, as we know, so there is a good chance that Adrian Jimenez will win the championship. However, he does still have to score 2 7th places or better in order to win the championship. So we should be ready for qualifying in just a moment. It is 2 minutes past 11, and I'm still showing that we are in a practice session. They should switch over in just a moment. Normally, it is an 11 o'clock start for qualifying. However, there are occasions when the server is a little bit late to swap over. I know that the practice session does say that there's 24 minutes left, but that sometimes does end early. Yeah, I'm looking at those times. Jimenez has definitely got something in the tank. I have that feeling. Daniel 1 is pushing, but if it can do 52s consistently, he might be the driver to challenge Jimenez. But then if you look back to Wtcc HD, it's over a second in terms of outright pace. I'm not sure whether Wtcc HD is currently just sandbagging a little bit, holding back, not showing all of his pace. Disappointment is right up there as well. Again, another Honda driver. And then just behind is Rodriguez. And we know how fast Rodriguez is. We did see Rodriguez battling with Fenno earlier in this championship. So to see what happens between the top 5 drivers in this race, it is going to be very exciting as we go into the qualifying session. There are 15 minutes on the clock. Drivers will be coming out onto circuit to perform their outlap. Hopefully we can get on with a driver's camera and we can see what is happening on circuit. I'd be very interested to know how slippy this track is, because as you know that Dubai is in the desert, it does have a problem with dust and with sand. And I'd be interested to know just how much grip this circuit has right now. As we're on board with a kamikaze racing driver, just making his way around the lap, as we did say that a lot of these corners are here to unsettle the cars rather than force you to slow down. And we're going to look down this extremely long back straight now. It is a very, very long way down to turn 10. And now you can just about see your braking point, and you plan to set the car up. You'll want to be on the brakes in the shortest distance possible, while still carrying as much speed to that apex as you can. And then I say it's acceleration corner is turn 11 while still keeping the car balanced. There's a few places on the circuit where the elevation or the camber of the track itself can unsettle the cars, as you're just seeing there. We get a four-wheel drift on going around the corner because there's just not enough grip. So it does look like the track is a little slippy, so we might see times fall later on as the track condition improves. And again, this is this magical turn 14, very off camber, very hilly as you climb all the way up and then through 15, which does have the right amount of camber on the correct gradient. And then it is a short little downhill sprint to 16, and then you'll come around towards that start finish line. And it seems like Asiite is definitely getting in for the tow here, trying to follow the Sad Bombs team and the Fuenlabrada team, as we're now on a lap. I don't know which drivers it is ahead of Asiite, but I very much expect this to be a quick lap from the three of them. Usually when you get good drivers together, they do tend to spur each other on, and we know that the mid 52s are possible. So I've just had a whisper in my ear. This is Jimenez and Rodriguez ahead. So Rodriguez in the blue and orange striking livery of the Sad Bombs GSR racing team, and going into the distance there, breaking away from everybody, is Adrian Jimenez in the blue and yellow Fuenlabrada racing team car. It does seem like Jimenez has the pace over these two drivers at the moment. That might change. There is a lot of time still on the clock. 2 races to go. We're just seeing purple sectors from Asiite, which is odd because Jimenez has just been through Sector 1, so you would expect Jimenez to have purple unless Asiite has gone faster. As we're seeing, Rodriguez just taking himself off circuit there. Again, off circuit could be the problem. If Jimenez has been off circuit, his race time or lap may be disallowed, meaning the first person to come across the sector does get purple. But nonetheless, it looks like a good, clean lap from Asiite at the moment. We're just watching the back of Rodriguez there. Jimenez has gone into the distance. We come around turn 14. We're looking for turn 15. All that camber, we're just a little bit wide over the circuit there, so we've got purple again. So the 2 laps ahead may be invalid, as Asiite just coming around turn 16, looking for that start-finish line, firing himself down there. It's probably not going to be a pole lap, but it is green, and it does do the business for now. However, Jimenez is definitely going faster by over a second. We have Ivan just gone faster than his teammate Asiite. Rinaldo Edo up into second place right now. But everybody's still a second behind Jimenez until Danny. Danny has just gone faster than Jimenez. That is important. So a 52.9, first person to break into the 52s during this qualifying session. So Danny 01 really doing the business right now. Jimenez has a lot to do in order to get there. Boba Ganush now in 7th place. Again, Boba Ganush has displayed quite a lot of talent, to say that he joined very late in this championship with the HLZ racing team, who honestly haven't had the best of fortune in this championship. but Baba Ganush seems to have jumped on board to try and reverse that and has done a real good job despite not having the results he would want at this moment in time. But looking up at the sectors, it is 4/10 back to Adrian Jimenez right now. Rossetti HD is a second off the pole lap. He will definitely want to be going faster than that. Reynaldo Edo in fourth, a second and a half. These drivers will be wanting to squeeze that gap closer together because they know if they can't match these times, then they are going to suffer in the race, and they really need to hustle in this race. Looking a bit further down the order, Bobo Ganush is now pushed down into 8th place as Valter Duarte. We've not seen Valter in a little while for the Outcasts, but he has put his car in 7th place. Disappointment is currently down in 9th. Disappointment's capable of a good lap. We've seen that earlier on in practice sessions before. Disappointment has done a 53.6, but not yet in qualifying. As more drivers come across to the line, are we going to see any changes in the order? Not just yet. There are drivers coming across the line. We see a little bit of change further back as Bobo Ganushi just goes ahead of Valter Duarte. Again, quite a nice lap from Bobo Ganushi. That could be a battle that does rage on for quite a lot of the race there. There is a 10th between the two drivers. We have Adrian coming across the line, not yet doing enough. We have Valter Duarte right there on your screen, a Honda car right behind. I'm not quite sure, I can't make out the number just yet. When I get a better camera angle, I'll be able to tell you who's following or overtaking Valter Duarte as Valter just gets out of the way and lets the Honda driver through. So that is number 14, and number 14 for Team Honda is ex-Jazzy, who we know has some racecraft, hasn't had the best of finishes due to unfortunate incidents. However, he will be hoping to put his car right up there in the top 10 today, as Valter Duarte just tucks in, gets following around the back part of the circuit now. In terms of laps, there are quite a lot of drivers out there on a lap. We're seeing Valter Duarte is very, very close at the moment. We do have Rodriguez very close to Pablos on circuit as well. So Rodriguez will be wanting a bit of space there. Asite is quite close to Bobo Ganushi. Adrian, however, is all on his own. He's gone green in Sector 1. That means he's gone faster than he did on the time he has set before. He will be hoping for a purple Sector 2 or a purple Sector 3. He wants that pole position badly, and he will do all that he can. And there it is. There's your purple in Sector 2. There it is. He is going for it now, coming around the last few corners. So I'm being whispered that Danny 01 has a purple in Sector 1, so Adrian Jimenez really has to hustle, and he goes back to the pits. Chooses not to finish that, may have gone too wide, but what's Danny 01 doing? We're purple in Sector 2 as well. This could push Danny 01 further into the pole position spot, securing it from Adrian, taking any charge. Yellow in Sector 3, so unfortunately not an improvement. That does give Adrian Jimenez a chance, a tiny chance of taking that time. But Danny 01 says, no, I'm going to have another go. I've had a purple in 1, I've had a purple in 2. We're going for it. Disappointment, currently down in 11th. 2 green sectors. This could propel him all the way up the leaderboard. We know he's got the pace within him, and it does indeed. So Disappointment now in 4th place. Still 1 second. Along with Rossetti HD, both drivers 1 second behind Danny 01 right now. We do have quite a bit of time on the clock at the moment. It's a 2-minute lap here, however, so you're not going to get many goes to improve your time. Pablos for the Hyperion Esports team is improving in Sector 1. Sector 2 is also an improvement, so this is a good chance for Pablos to get himself off the back of the grid and propel him up a little bit further into the action. We have seen some really good racing further back in these grids though, so wherever Pablo starts, it is going to be action packed. Just looking at who's coming across the line, Wtcc coming across, but no improvement on time there. Here we go for Pablos. 2 green sectors, 3rd green sector. That does propel Pablos up into 11th place. And the next one at the back is Walter Duarte, who we have seen following other cars, as we just see one of the cheetah cars jump in and slot right behind Pablos there. And I believe that is Cabeza Speed. Cabeza Speed currently sat in 9th place. So obviously he'll be wanting to get out there and put in some decent laps. But in terms of potential, Adrian Jimenez, he has gone faster in practice. He is on an outlap and he's right about to start his flying lap. But right behind Jimenez is Rodriguez, tucked in extremely closer. Right behind Rodriguez is Danny 01. So whatever Jimenez does to find time, Rodriguez is going to see that. Danny 01 is going to see that. So Jimenez, while he does have the chance to go and attack for pole position, everybody behind is going to try and attack to take their back off him. So this lap, with less than 4 minutes on the clock now, there is not going to be enough time to reset, do an outlap, and get a lap in once these guys have done this lap. If you press the button now, you might just make it. But if you're going to go around and do a lap after you've done 2 sectors, I don't think there's going to be a chance for a reset. So, green in sector 1. We did see this last time from Jimenez. We saw last time that Jimenez went green in sector 1, purple in sector 2. Danny 01 went purple in sector 1 and purple in sector 2. I don't have a graphic for Danny 01, so we're going to see what Jimenez does, and then we're going to follow what the 2 cars behind following very, very closely are going to do. My timing screen says that Rodriguez is still behind Jimenez. However, Danny 01 is a lot further back, giving himself a lot of space, so he's not going to see what Jimenez does. However, Jimenez does a purple sector 2. As we come across that sector line, this is very good news for Jimenez. Jimenez will be doing all he can to keep the last few corners nice and neat, try and take out as much time as he can from the Honda driver, as we're hoping that the last corner is nice and steady, early on the power, and he's going to fire it all the way down to the start finish straight there and see what time he gets. It is going to be a 52. It's purple in sector 3, and it is pole position for Adrian Jimenez. 1:52.611. Danny 01 is on an outlap. There are 2 minutes in this session to go, so Danny 01 at the lap part of the circuit will have time to complete this lap. He will have time to get over the line, start the lap, and finish this lap. So maybe when he was following Rodriguez, he thought better of trying to finish that lap and just went for a new pair of tyres and decided to get on with taking pole position. But it's a big ask. 52.611 is your pole lap at the moment. Jimenez has gone faster than he has ever gone in practice, but he's still not beaten Danny 01's potential best time, 52.529. If Danny 01 matches what he has done previously, he will have pole. But that is nailing every single mark perfectly, nailing every single apex, every single exit. Danny 01 has to really fight for this, and he has to be millimeter perfect. As we come across, sector 1 is yellow. That is not what Danny 01 wants to see. That is not what is going to put him on pole position. He has to go faster around sector 2 and sector 3, faster than he has ever gone before. We have a HLZ racing car up ahead. Hopefully that's not putting Danny 01 off. Hopefully that means good news, because there is a long straight coming up, and Danny 01 might be able to use that to get a bit of a tow and trying to regain a couple of tenths as we're coming around a few corners here. I'm just seeing a little bit of a stutter, but not to worry. We are still following Danny 01 as we come around for these final few moments of qualifying. We have disappointment in 3rd, taken away from Wtcc HD. Ronaldo Edo in 5th, not able to get into the top 3 this time around. Danny 01's yellow in sector 2 as well, so it does not look like Danny 01 is going to be in the prime pole position. However, That said, Jimenez has done a sterling job after managing 52 nines all the way through practice. This is not going to be the lap that Daniel one wanted. So that is Jimenez currently, provisionally, on pole. Disappointment, very well done to get into the 52s as well. 52.921. ZHD is on a lap. Yellow in Sector 1, however, so he really needs a good performance in Sector 2 and Sector 3 if he's going to challenge for the top 3 spots. However, 4th is not a bad spot. ZHD will be happy with 4th, especially when the 2 Hondas for the Cheetah Racing team are 2nd and 3rd. It does mean that Fu and Labrada they're putting their foot down. They've been dominant this season. GSR have been their only challengers, but with a few non-racers from GSR, it does mean that Fu and Labrada will, of course, be your team's champion at the end of the day. And with a yellow in Sector 2, ZHG just gives it a little wiggle, showboats across the line, just to say, hey, I'm 4th, that will do for me. So there we go. I believe we have a couple more drivers. Pablo is coming across the line now, does move himself up into 10th. Asite to come across next, currently in 6th, does not improve. And then we have Ivano still to come across the line. He is in 8th place at the moment, and he will come across the line. 2 green sectors. This could move him up a little bit. And across the line, and he moves up into 6th place, just ahead of his teammate. He will like that very, very much. So Ivan will now start from 6th, although they won't because it is a reverse grid. So here we are. We will have confirmation on your screen in just a few minutes. But what an exciting session. To see a 3rd driver achieve the 52s. We know that Disappointment was up there. He was doing low 53s, fighting for that 52. But there you go. He's put himself in 3rd with a very, very good lap time, 52.921, which is 100th slower than Daniel 1 on a 152.911. And stunningly, Adrian Jimenez on a 152.611. That is 0.3 of a second. So very well done to the drivers. I believe before we get into the race, there will be a small warm-up session, which will have a little ad break just before that. And we will see you in just a few moments for the end of the warm-up and the start of race 1. And there you go, confirmation on your screen. Pole position, Adrian Jimenez. So that is absolutely confirmed, set in stone. And we should be over to the ad breaks just about now. Welcome back to the start of the first race here. It's going to be a few moments before the grid is formed and they go on their formation lap, as we're seeing a few cars just coming around at the end of the warm-up session. Maybe trying to do a practice start, and then they will go into the race session where they do have to get onto the grid and do their formation lap. So a few talking points for today. As you may have heard if you've been watching from the start, Carlos Fenno, current championship leader, is not with us today. However, Adrian Jimenez is here. Now, if Adrian Jimenez achieves 2 7th places or better, he will emerge as the champion of the World Touring Car Championship for Liga Virtual F1. There is 18 points between the two. So Adrian Jimenez very much in the hunt for a championship here today. In terms of the teams, however, the Formula Brada Racing team can pretty much already be crowned teams champions, as Sadbom's GSR Racing are 94 points behind, and it is almost impossible for them to outscore the Formula Brada Racing team by 94 points. So it looks like we do have a teams champion crowned, and we are just waiting for the end of these two races to see whether Adrian Jimenez can do the job and put himself ahead of Carlos Fenno, who unfortunately is not here to defend that crown. So yeah, we've got a few interesting things to look forward to at the moment. Main talking point though, the one that I'm really seeing and is incredibly interesting is the fact that in the first half of this championship, the challenging teams were the Kamikaze Racing team and the Outcasts. They were there battling for the next best team. So behind Formula Brada, behind Sadbom's GSR Racing, it was Kamikaze Racing team, and challenging them, it would have been the Outcasts and Hyperion and these drivers. The Hondas didn't really do too well early on in this championship, but this second half of the championship, Formula Brada and Sadbom's GSR have been under attack from the Hondas. The Hondas have been able to go so much faster, and we're seeing that today. The Cheetah Racing team is doing a better job at the moment than all the other teams. They have two drivers that have set laps faster than almost every other team. The only person able to separate those two drivers is Adrian Jimenez. And as we know, that could be your champion today. We will wait and see. So the race is starting to form up. We have a few drivers still in their pit garages, making any last minute adjustments, any last minute tweaks, making sure they have race fuel. It is not fun to run out of fuel towards the end of the race. I have done it. There has been a situation where I have seen the finish line and stopped just a few minutes before it, which is never fun. But we do have drivers sitting on the grid right now. Everybody's just starting to pop into existence, and then we'll go around for a formation lap where we will be able to confirm the starting order. And there they go for their formation lap. So as you know, it is a reverse grid. So pole sitter Adrian Jimenez will be starting in 10th with Danny 01 in 9th. I'm not sure why there's a few changes here, but let's have a look at the grid. And here we go. So starting in pole is Pablos for Hyperion Esports. First time for the team on pole. X-Jazzy for Team Honda Victory in second place, with Cabeza Speed in third place. Asiete in fourth, with Ivan alongside for Kamikaze in fifth. Rinaldi Edo in sixth for Sadbom's GSR, with Hezeti HD in seventh for Formula Brada. We have Disappointment in eighth, with teammate Danny 01 alongside for Cheetah Racing Team, and Adrian Jimenez starting in 10th. Rodriguez in 11th and Valdo Duarte in 12th. And we have Bob Ogunoshi rounding out the field in 13th. Now, what's really interesting here, Rodriguez is starting in 11th place, right behind Adrian Jimenez. Reynaldo Edo is in 6th place. So if Fenno needed a couple of teammates to hold Adrian Jimenez back from that 7th place position, well, he's gone and got that now. Rodriguez is talented. He has pace. So he may be able to stick it down the inside of Jimenez and hold Jimenez back. We might see that. We might not. Either way, Pablos, best start for Hyperion Esports to date. He will be hoping to at least complete one lap before getting overtaken from any of the faster drivers behind. Cabeza Speed and X Jazzy, they're in prime positions to get a season best. X Jazzy, as we know, has not had the results that he wants just yet. He has got pace. We have seen that, and he will be wanting to deliver some results today. So we are coming around towards the last part of the circuit. We've still got a little bit to go before we get there. Everybody's nice and closed up. So Pablos is doing a fantastic job in keeping this grid together. That means that nobody has to sit on the grid for a long, long time. So, X Jazzy, career best of 7th. He'll be wanting to improve on that. Pablos, in the championship standings, has had a third. In fact, he's had 2/3, but a lot of did not finish later on in the championship. So, Pablos, we know you can do the job. We're looking forward to that today. Cabeza Speed hasn't yet had a podium result. He has had a 4th. That is the best he has had. Let's see what he can get today. However, Asaite and Ivan O, neither one of them have had the best results. We have had a win from Asaite. Can he do the same today? Can he have another one? So here we go, and the cars are on the grid. All the lights are on, and away they go. So Pablos gets a decent start. They'll head down to turn 1. We have a Honda alongside. Will the Honda have the spot into the corner? He's got ahead already. So that was a fantastic start from X Jazzy as they all line up behind, nice and carefully, not to make contact. We've seen some better starts just recently than we had done in earlier championship rounds. So X Jazzy leads the way from Pablos with Cabeza Speed right behind. Asite and Ivano both in the hunt. Reynaldieda right behind. And we're seeing on your screen Adrian Jimenez just looking to make up a few more places. Already in 6th. That is crucial for the championship. We know that. Reynaldo Edo has made a mistake and is down in 10th, unfortunately, as we see Duarte, unfortunately, into the wall. That did look like Cabeza Speed helped that, but that is not what Walter Duarte wanted. He will now want to get on with it, catch back up, and see how many points he can score for his team today. So further up, we have Ax Jesse in the lead. Asiite has got up into 3rd place, but it looks like disappointment's come straight back through. So that looked like an almighty move from Asiite, which didn't quite work out there. But disappointment already up into 3rd place, chasing down Pablos. And right behind Asiite is Adrian Jimenez, already into 5th place with teammate Jose HD right behind. Rodriguez not having an answer for these drivers just yet. Daniel 1 down in 8th place, not able to make up as many places as quick as, oh wow, as Adrian Jimenez as Asita gets very sideways into 14. I did say that that is a corner that can catch you out very, very easily, and that gives Adrian Jimenez a run into 16, and he will look down the start-finish straight along with his teammate Jose THD. Can they do anything down towards turn 1? Asita having to defend for all that his life is worth to try and prevent the Fulham racing car from getting ahead. Asiete now looks to the inside. He's still there. Adrian Jimenez trying to make a bit of a cutback, try and gather more speed on the exit. Asiete now very much under attack as he takes the inside line, and that allows ZHD to make a move as well because Asiete was on the outside. As we're just looking at that battle again, Asiete still just ahead, and Rodriguez is sat there in the distance wondering what he can make from this battle. And if he can make anything from this battle at all, because we know the skill of these drivers. We're looking at Walter Duarte, stopped on circuit, unfortunately. Can he get that car going again? Can he finish this race? We certainly hope so. And unfortunately not. He's retired to the pits. That is such a shame. Hopefully we see Valtteri Duarte back out on track. We only have the 2 results so far from Volta, so we're hoping to get some more. We're looking on board with Rodriguez, Wtcc HD, and Assetti all in for a battle, and there's contact. There is contact. Assetti has made contact with Wtcc HD. Wtcc HD did get spun around there, and that has allowed Rodriguez to just chase the top 3 in 4th place there, and he will be away right now. I'm showing Adrian Jimenez still in 4th, so that should be Rodriguez in 5th. I'm not sure why my graphic looked a little different. ZHD has dropped all the way down into 10th place, which is very unfortunate. He'll have to get past some very quick drivers in order to make up some places, and there is a penalty for disappointment. That is a bit of a shame. That might be track limits. Unfortunately, disappointment was running really well in 3rd. Adrian Jimenez is already into 2nd place chasing down Pablos. So Pablos has definitely led a couple of races here. He will be over the moon with that, especially with the quality of drivers behind. The ZHD doesn't look to be making any places up yet. We're hoping there's no damage on that car. It was a high-speed section of the circuit where he did get turned around, and hopefully he kept it out of the wall. He's still got his front bumper on there, still got his rear wing, still got both wing mirrors, so maybe he didn't make contact. Rodriguez now has a penalty as well. This has to be track limits, so hopefully not everybody gets a penalty. Hopefully everything is not disturbed too much. I'm not sure my commentary could survive that, as we're looking at the battle for 6th place. Danny 01 currently in 6th. We know he's got the potential to go faster. Asita in 7th place after a couple of almighty battles so far. X-Jazzy right behind in 8th. We know that X-Jazzy also has a bit of pace there. And we have Ivan in 9th place, trying to see if he can make it up the inside of X-Jazzy there. Not quite this time around. We're going to have another look at another point on the circuit as we see the light dropping. Everybody's headlights are on at Dubai, and the circuit is definitely getting darker. This makes it a lot more of a challenge, as you can see everything around you at all times. So we have Ivan just looking at the back of X-Jazzy there as they come around this very hilly part of the circuit. X-Jazzy doing all he can to keep Ivan behind. We might see Asita just walk away and start chasing Danny 01. Danny 01 is chasing Ronaldo Edo and Rodriguez. We know that Rodriguez and Disappointment do have penalties that will be applied after the race. But at the moment, everybody's quite tight together. There's no massive gap forming at the moment. A couple of seconds here and there, but nothing like we've seen previously, as X-Jazzy goes very wide at turn 1. And we have a penalty now for Ronaldo Edo. That is 3 drivers that have a penalty. It has to be for track limits. Everybody just taking a bit too much over the white lines. And now Asita is chasing Danny, and Ivan is catching the back of his teammate, as ZHD has also gotten past X-Jazzy. ZHD could be joining this battle in just a matter of moments. We know that ZHD has a fair bit of pace in him, as we're just watching in the distance this battle for 5th place between Ronaldo Edo, Danny 01 and Asita. I'm not sure Ivan is still a part of this battle. We do have Rodriguez there as well, but Ivan could catch up. I mean, it is a second and a half at the moment, but that could be gone in any second. That could be gone in just one corner. If one of these guys up front decides to put an overtaking move on and it doesn't quite work out, that will slow everybody down, and Ivan could be right back in the hunt, as we are seeing that Asita does seem to have made a mistake there, and Ivan is right on the tail of his teammate. And up ahead, it seems to be the same, as another driver goes wide around turn 15 there. And that is a swap in position, but then given straight back as Hazeti HD and X-Jazzy swap places. Ronaldo Edo swap places with Daniel 1 and Rodriguez, as we have a new best lap of the race. I do expect that to continue falling, but Jimenez already dropping the hammer in first place after overtaking Pablos, as we see a battle now from the Kamikaze Racing drivers alongside a bit of a tap, but that will be no harm, no foul, and the drivers will continue going, racing as hard and as cleanly and fairly as they can. Actually, no, I'm seeing that Asita did drop off there. Wtcc has gotten in between them. Wtcc is now pressuring Ivan. Wtcc wants to make up the place. Ivano just sitting there thinking, well, I'm in a battle ahead. I want Daniel 1 and Ronaldo Edo and Rodriguez. Wtcc wants exactly the same thing, and he's going to do everything that he can to try and get back up into the position where he started. So Ivan now looking down into the insiders. There's a bit of contact there from the Cheetah Racing car and the Sad Bombs GSR Racing car. Daniel 1 is down the inside of Rodriguez there, as we're just looking at an almighty scrap for position, and Ronaldo Edo wants to stay ahead right now. Wants to stay in that third place, wants to take as many points away from the Fulham cars as possible. It's already too late for the championship, but they don't have to lose by such a margin, and Daniel 1 wants to be right up there as well. In terms of team standings, the Cheetah Racing team do have a chance to overtake the Kamikaze Racing team, so very much a battle for pride and for third place here, as Daniel 1 is down the inside of Ronaldo Edo. We have the Kamikaze Racing driver Ivano right behind Danny, looking at the inside, thinking better of it. Performs a dummy, gets back in once more for the toe, and then pulls out again. But that Honda is so fast down the straight that Ivan has trouble to get ahead, but he's down the inside nonetheless. Little bit of a love tap that allows Wtcc through past Daniel 1. So Wtcc has made up another place and another place as he storms around the outside of Ivan 01 there. So Daniel 1 losing another place to Wtcc as well as Ivan 0. He will want to get those places back up, as now we see is that Rodriguez that is wide around the outside, allowing Wtcc up into fourth place. 3 cars in the space of a few hundred meters. Wtcc will be loving that lap. Next target, Ronaldo Edo. What can Wtcc do to get onto the back of Ronaldo? We know that Daniel 1 has the speed. Daniel 1 has fallen all the way back down to 7th place. This is not over. We have another penalty on screen, this time for Pablos, so most of the drivers now securing penalties. We have to be careful with track limits, as Wtcc isn't quite pulling the lead over Rodriguez that he hoped. However, Ronaldo Edo seems to have dropped the hammer. He seems to be in the chase for Pablos, who is still 6 laps in, still in 2nd place. Remember, this is an 11-lap race. The next race, race 2, 13 laps, so they have more time to sort themselves out. This isn't the case in this race, and you can see that they all want to sort themselves out. It is midway through the race. They are desperate to get their places sorted, as we see one of the Sad Bombs GSR Racing team cars heading into the pits there. I believe that was Rodriguez. I definitely saw one of the cars going to the pits. Rodriguez is in the pits and falling through the field. I wonder if that was for a drive-through penalty for track limits. I am not sure on what penalties are what right now, but Rodriguez is falling all the way through the field. Unfortunately, that is going to put him right back in the mix with Wtcc and disappointment. That might not be the end of the world as Bob Ganushi goes past. So Rodriguez is right down at the back of the field. The only driver who's ahead of, at the moment is Valter Duarte, but that is because Valter Duarte has retired the car. So Rodriguez now has it all to do. I'm not yet seeing updates on my screen, but Rodriguez is still showing ahead of Wtcc as well. Wtcc could have put his car in the pits. We are seeing a P icon and a timer, so there may have been damage to that car, and that's a saving grace for Rodriguez. 1 fewer cars that he needs to overtake. but he does need to get the job done on Bob Gunashi to get himself up with Disappointment and to climb the field together. But meanwhile, 4th place, Cheetah versus Kamikaze. We have Asiite and teammate Ivan with Danny01 and teammate Cabeza Speed both battling for 4th place. Remember, these guys are battling for the 3rd place spot in the team's championship as well. Kamikaze do have the advantage at the moment, but we have seen that Danny01 has put in the times. Danny01 is capable of matching Jimenez for pace as he's down the inside of Ivan makes up one spot, looks towards Asiite now. Can he make up another one? Not quite just yet, but we're seeing Cabeza Speed now looking at Ivan trying to figure out where he can get, and I do seem to see a Full and Braddock in the distance there. Danny01 gets that job nicely done. So now the Cheetah cars bookmark the Kamikaze cars, as I do believe that was a little bit of a mistake from the Kamikaze driver there. So the new order is Danny01 in 5th place, with Ivan right behind, and Asiite just swapping places with Cabeza Speed there for a second, as we're seeing another Sad Bombs GSR car coming through the pits, which is a bit of a shame. That may be Rodriguez again. This is looking racy. Cabeza Speed is ahead of Asiite. Asiite now getting very close on the brakes there. Cabeza Speed wondering how he's going to get past Ivan. Ivan might be helping his teammate here. Knows what he needs to do to secure 3rd place in the championship. Cabeza Speed knows what he needs to do to steal it. And this is looking almighty. Danny01 has left them both for dead. Left his teammate to suffer, and he's gone off chasing the cars ahead. Here we go. We're looking down the inside towards turn 10. A very long straight here, but the Honda doesn't get all the ground that it got at early championship. Very late on the brake from Asiite, but he gets the job done. Disappointment is right there now. Disappointment is with the 2 Kamikaze drivers and with his teammate. So we have the 3 Cheetah Racing cars up against the 2 Kamikaze cars. What can happen here? Disappointment has put in some really good laps earlier in the week. Cabeza Speed hasn't quite been on that pace. Will Cabeza Speed allow Disappointment to go on the attack to find place? But no, it doesn't look like it. Cabeza Speed giving Disappointment a bit of a squeeze there, as we're seeing them come around the final few laps, both of them wide. Another penalty for Disappointment, unfortunately. That could result in a drive-through. We don't want to see this. We don't want to see the race dictated by penalties, but if the drivers don't behave, that is how it's going to go. This is Danny01 looking at the back of his HD there. They are very close. Cabeza Speed and Disappointment very close as well, as Disappointment looks to the outside. Cabeza Speed has that covered, but what can Disappointment do around the rest of this first sector? We are looking at the battle, the almighty battle for 5th place right now. I don't think they're going to score 4th. Danny01 has gone, but Ivano and Asiite are not getting away from the battling teammates, as we're seeing that, you know, Ivano might actually have a little bit of a gap, but in real racing terms, that's not enough. That's not enough to feel comfortable, as we're looking at Disappointment just in the toe of his teammate, who is in the toe of Asiite and looking to put a move around the outside at turn 10. That is a difficult place to overtake. Disappointment looks for the switchback. Teammates going with him. Asiite is done and dusted. Can't quite come back, but there's contact. There's contact. Thankfully, Cabeza Speed keeps that going, but that's going to allow Disappointment to have a look down the inside. There's more contact. There's more contact, but both cars keep going. Somehow Disappointment is able to point his teammate back in the right direction and prevent Cabeza Speed from spinning out. That means both drivers can get on the way and get chasing after Ivano. But the real news is that Asiite has dropped all the way down into 9th place. Asiite will not be happy with that. Asiite would want to move himself back up. Disappointment now into the pits. This is for what is probably a drive-through penalty, and so Disappointment is going to fall all the way back through. Now further ahead, Danny01 has gotten past Hossetti HD. Danny01 in 3rd, ZTHD also for a drive-through by the look of it, dropping right through the field with disappointment. This is really shaking up the order. Pablos somehow still in second place. Adrian Jimenez, as we know, he is in first place with an almighty gap over Pablos. Daniel One has a lot to do to catch Pablos. That is probably not going to happen in the next couple of laps. Rinaldi Edo is already on the back of Cabeza Speed and Ivano. This is important for the drivers. This is important for Rinaldi Edo. This could cause a world of hurt for these drivers if Rinaldi Edo is able to dislodge these two from their battle. Daniel One currently hurting the Kamikaze team in terms of the team championship. Ivano doing all he can to save the team's third place for the team championship. But Rinaldi Edo seeming to be the more cautious driver, looking down the inside nice and tight there. That could be a move on Cabeza Speed. And there we see switchback down the inside, outside for the next corner, looking around the outside of Ivano there. Can Rinaldi Edo, a little bit of a slide there, a little bit of contact, as we see Rinaldi Edo forced wide. But nonetheless, that is job done. That is Rinaldi Edo past both cars. However, Cabeza Speed and Ivano still having a scrap for that position. As there's contact. Cabeza Speed is off. He has been spun off by Ivano at the latter stage of the circuit and will get going again right behind Hizeti HD, who has fallen into 7th place. As we know, he went through the pits, and there is Rodriguez right behind. Cabeza Speed will not be happy with that, and there is another penalty for Cabeza Speed, which is such a shame because I don't think that out of bounds excursion was his own fault. Hopefully that's not a drive-through. That would be very demoralizing for the Cheetah Racing driver, who is now sat in 8th place. And Ivan has fallen through the field as well. So I don't know whether Ivan has waited to allow Cabeza Speed back through there. But Ivano is now down in 10th. May have gone through the pits. Disappointment is right behind Cabeza Speed as well. So pit lane times and drive-through penalties, they've really shaken up this race. They've made it a really exciting race. We're on the final lap. Jimenez looks set to secure a championship right here, as we're watching with Cabeza Speed just chasing down Rodriguez. But I want to see Adrian Jimenez coming around to take a charge, take a real charge on this championship. As we're watching, there's not much happening on circuit where we are at the moment. I mean, Rodriguez, as we've seen, has done a couple of drive-through penalties. He would be a lot higher up the field otherwise. Hizeti HD, just ahead, already done his drive-through penalties. Rinaldi Edo, a little further up. I think there has been a drive-through penalty there as well. Daniel One, I didn't see go through the pits. Pablos has not been through the pits. Adrian Jimenez has not been through the pits. So the top three, all very, very happy to keep it within the track limits. There it is, confirmed on your screen. Your race winner for the final round and the first race is Adrian Jimenez. Can he do a repeat performance for race 2? Can Adrian Jimenez secure the championship? He may have already done that, but I believe there might be a couple of points left for Adrian Jimenez to claim. And in second place, coming across the line, it is Pablos, as we see Daniel One just stopping on track there. I do not know. I believe Daniel One has already finished, as there is a nasty, nasty collision. Nasty couple of collisions on the start-finish straight there. That is a bit of playfulness, and we're glad it's a simulator, because if that was real racing, that would be incredibly painful. But I believe that Daniel One had already crossed the line for third place. So very well done to Pablos. That is a second place for Pablos. So that is a season best, beating his 2 third places by another position. What can Pablos do in race 3? But he will be over the moon with that result. We might have to get a chat with Pablos at the end of the day if he puts in another strong performance for race 2. But I think the real talking point is Adrian Jimenez. Not quite chased down by Daniel One. Not quite under the pressure we expected So there will be a little bit of a break now between race 1 and race 2, but do come back to see race 2. 13 laps, slightly longer. There will be a warm up and then a formation. But in between there, we're going to have a few ads. But first, hopefully, sometime soon, we're going to have confirmation of where everybody finished, because I believe there were a few penalties. And I want to see how that shakes things up, because I'm not entirely sure where everybody finished. So as we knew, Adrian Jimenez, first place. Pablos, second place. Very good result there for the Hyperion esports driver. Daniel won for Cheetah Racing. Very important third place for the team. Ronaldo in fourth place. Asita in sixth place, struggling a bit amongst a sea of Hondas for quite, as we know, serving a penalty, along with Rodriguez in seventh. I'm also seeing on my screen that I've got 2 seventh places, but I can confirm that. Well, I can't confirm. I think Rodriguez and Disappointment have both been classified as seventh, but I'm sure that Disappointment would have been eighth with Cabeza Speed in ninth. And I'm being told it's the other way around. So Rodriguez, right? So 789 is Rodriguez, Disappointment, and then Cabeza Speed, and then Ivano in 10th. So I do apologize for the confusing graphics there and the confusingness of it all, but that's what happens when penalties are applied. It was a bit of a mess for a lot of the top 10 there. I'm hoping they will be a little bit better behaved in race 2, and I'm sure they will be wanting to be as well. As you've seen, the drive-throughs cost a lot of time. In 10th place, or in 11th place rather, if you've seen 10th already, we have Boba Ganushi and Volta Duarte in 12th place, and X Jazzy disqualified at the back of the grid there, so being classified behind Duarte, who we did see go out quite early on. So that's a shame for X Jazzy. X Jazzy will not want to be disqualified from the next race. They will all be giving themselves a talk and thinking about where they're going outside of track limits. As you're seeing the sectors on screen now, a lot of it seemed to be in the final sector around turn 14, 15, and 16. Let's hope they're better behaved as we head through to the ad break right now, and we'll see you in just a few minutes. Welcome back for race 2 of the season finale in Liga Virtual F1's World Touring Car Championship 2021. We have had a very, very exciting, very drama-filled first race of 11 laps. We have another 13 laps to go. So plenty to be settled. We have a team's champion already. We have a driver champion. So a victory drive now for Adrian Jimenez to secure and finish this round and claim his championship title for this, what has been an almighty season. Let's just be honest about that. But third place, ZTHD and Daniel 1 came into this round separated by 5 points. That is still to be settled. That is still to be settled on circuit. As well as that, Kamikaze Racing Team and the Cheetah Racing Team were very close on points. That is a battle for teams that still has to be settled, and once again, it is for that third place spot. We have cars on the grid. They will go around to sort out their formation lap, and again, you will see that the drivers are in a different order this time around. I'm not entirely sure how the order is worked out, but here we go. We have on pole position for this final race Adrian Jimenez alongside Danny 01 with Disappointment just behind, and Josete HD alongside Disappointment. Then we have in 5th place Ronaldo Edo with Ivano in 6th place and Asita in 7th, just alongside Cabeza Speed. And then in 9th place, it is X Jazzy hoping for a result this time around with Pablos, who's just finished on the podium, Rodriguez in 11th, and Boba Ganushi in 12th place. And then rounding out your field, I do not believe that Valter Duarte is on the grid at the moment. We do hope the Outcast driver does get back into the field and travel around for another attempt at some points. So here we are. We are lapping at quite a bit more pace than we saw from Pablos in that first race. This might mean that there is a bit of a wait while the cars get formed up on the grid. Yeah, you're seeing a little bit of a gap further back there to the Kamikaze drivers from the Full Labrada drivers. But these four cars will be going at it for most of this race as they come around now. They're through the first two sectors, and we're just seeing that the track, the surrounding environment, is in complete darkness right now. It is a floodlit circuit, but you're still using your headlights to see every other detail. You're still relying on knowing the circuit to figure out where your marks are, because when it's dark like this, you can't always see your marks. You tend to use objects that are behind the safety catch fences and the walls, just because it's less likely to be knocked or pushed around. So the drivers will have difficulty with some of the marks. They will have difficulty on colder than optimal tyres off of the line. They will have difficulty as it's a much longer race. As we're saying, 4 cars on the grid, an almighty wait now to get the next car lined up, and then it looks like another long wait before we get the rest of the drivers into their grid spots. All the while, the tyres of Adrian Jimenez, Danny 01, Disappointment, and Hazeti HD, their tyres will be losing temperature by the second. Rodriguez knows this. He knows this. He's going as slow as he can into his pit box. And we have cars lined up on the grid. I'm watching to see the lights on the gantry just fire up one by one. There we go. First, second, third. There we go. We are away. We are. Now, final race. Jimenez gets a fantastic start, but look at Disappointment on Danny 01. Disappointment's got a fantastic run. Danny 01 had a less than optimal start, which has seen him pushed back down the order. Everybody's nice and clean at the moment. The GSR racing car there of Ronaldo just getting up into the mix as we see everybody around nice and cleanly by the look of that. Although we do have a yellow, someone may have collected a curb and gone around. I'm not sure what's happened there. As we're seeing, I believe that was Rodriguez going very deep over the circuit. A little bit further back here, we have a Kamikaze and a Cheetah car. I'm not sure why these drivers are so far back. That might have been contact early on. As we're seeing further ahead, Cheetah racing cars. We have a HL racing car of Boba Ganush in the mix here. Pablos right behind. So we are waiting for all the timings to update on your screens and on the internet so that we know exactly where everybody is. But this looks like a nice little move around to the outside on the Full Labrada car. Bit sideways there. That's not going to be an optimal exit, and that isn't quite possible. But the Full Labrada cars are still dominant over the rest of the field, with Adrian Jimenez storming away at the moment with his teammate right in behind. So this is going to be a very, very exciting day as we see the Cheetah racing cars sharking their way up to this battle for what looks like second place, with Ronaldo, his HD, just starting to this race just yet, and they will want to make sure they finish without penalty, without drama. This time around, no drive-throughs, as a few drivers go wide in the distance. We know what happened last time with penalties. They will want to be more behaved. Ronaldo Edo looking down the inside of Hazeti HD into turn 1. Doesn't quite have it done on the brakes. Hazeti HD still went a little bit wide. That does allow Edo to come back up a little bit, but Hazeti HD does defend nice and carefully and keeps that position for now. but look at how close these drivers are. And right behind this squabbling couple of cars, Danny01 has joined the fray. Danny01 fancies his chances at second place, and he is going for it. This, of course, would mean that he secures his third place in the championship, as we're seeing Edo looking at Hazeti HD. Danny01 looking at Edo, looking at Hazeti HD. Hazeti HD is having to defend, but choosing not to. Edo has gone straight up into second place. Hazeti HD could do nothing from the outside of the circuit there, and that has allowed that move to take place. Now, Danny01 doesn't seem as close as he did, maybe expecting a little bit more to go wrong there, giving a bit of space just to allow for any necessary adjustments, but he does have his teammate, Cabeza Speed, right behind. We have X-Jazzy for Team Honda right behind the two cheater drivers, and Pablos isn't far behind for Team Hyperion Esports. Edo now in second place. Jimenez driving away from the field at the moment, 2.5 seconds almost, as they come around the final turn to start another lap. Edo having a brilliant race compared to last time, where he had a number of drive-through penalties, as we're seeing a new best lap on your screens. Again, I would expect that to fall even further, but Rinaldi Edo just setting the pace at the moment on a 1:54. We remember there were 1:52s a little earlier on, and we would expect to see that towards the end of this race as well. So looking at disappointment, currently in 11th place with Rodriguez just ahead. Of course, there was a little bit of drama, a lot of swapping of places, and as all of these drivers are incredibly good and consistent, just one little mistake will fire you right back to the end of the field. A little bit of a tap here and there from Rodriguez's car, as we're looking at the back of Ivano in the distance. And of course, Ivano looking at the back of the HLZ car of Bobo Ganushi, even further ahead up at turn 10 right now. A disappointment could be lining up a move here on Rodriguez. Just looks to the inside. Can he take that move, as Rodriguez has definitely gone wide at that corner, but will have the inside for 11. And Disappointment is looking at where might be best. Turn 12 coming up. Disappointment fires it down the inside. Can he make the apex before Rodriguez gets there? I believe that is job done. That is job done indeed. And there they go. It's shot from the outside just to show that Rodriguez might stand a chance of coming back here. But Disappointment should have done enough. Around turn 14 they go. But no, Rodriguez manages to stick it down the inside of 14. 15 won't allow Disappointment to come back at Rodriguez. Jimenez now sets your new fastest lap of the race with less than a second slower than the qualifying time on a 53.401, and Rodriguez will hold that position for another lap, leaving Disappointment to continue trying to get that top 10 position away from Rodriguez. Further ahead, there do seem to be battles around Hazeti, Danny and Cabeza Speed. We do have a battle with Ivan and Bobo Ganushi forming. That could be coming very soon. Right now, on track, on your screens, we're seeing Disappointment fire it down the inside of Rodriguez once more. Not yet successful. We do have a penalty for Rodriguez, unfortunately. We're seeing it all play out again. Hopefully there are no drive-throughs, as we're seeing that Disappointment is doing all he can do to get past the car of Rodriguez, but the Sad Bombs GSR car is far too wide at the moment, and right behind Disappointment we have Asiite coming back through the field, as Asiite is down the inside of Disappointment and makes that stick. That Disappointment is how you overtake, and we will show it again when we catch Rodriguez. And Ivano has got past Bobo Ganushi. We did say that battle was forming. That did not look like it was much of a problem. Just in the background there is Rodriguez and Asiite. Disappointment gets past Asiite in the background again. Ivano is going to make time on Babagunushi. No problem at all. Babagunushi runs wide just a little bit there, but he will soon be caught, no doubt, by Rodriguez. Looming in the distance there with disappointment back ahead of Asiite. Now, looking ahead at battles between the top three, there is a little bit of time. Pablos, however, does seem to be in a bit of a battle here. X-Jazzy on the outside. Pablos down the inside, just holding on to that position. X-Jazzy will be wanting to do all that he can to make up this position, but Pablos has had a second place today. He will be wanting to do another podium. He will be wanting to celebrate this fantastic championship where he has had 2 third places, 1 second places. What can he do today? Sideways is not the answer, not in that car, Pablos, and that will give X-Jazzy a little bit of a chance to catch up. However, down towards turn 10, he will not be close enough. There will not be a move down there. However, Pablos, if he's cooking those tyres, he might struggle towards the end of this race. And we're just seeing ahead. Ahead is one of the Team Cheetah cars. That is Cabeza Speed, who is a little behind teammate Danny01 right now, as we're coming around to start lap 7 very soon. And that will be the halfway mark of the race already. It just goes so quickly with these drivers, giving us all sorts of drama on circuit. X-Jazzy does not seem to be able to find the pace to get right onto Pablos for this final sector of the track. This is where the Hondas seem to be outmatching the longer wheelbase cars, as we head down to turn 16 now to start that lap number 7. This is going to be an interesting second half of the race. It is not easy in the dead of night, as we're seeing Danny01. Danny01 has caught Hazeti HD. We still have Rinaldi Edo in the distance there, so Edo has not broken away. And there on your screen is a graphic of the gap. It is not much all. I can assure you that while 5/10 behind the wheel might seem like an age to catch the car in front, if you are a spectator, you cannot distinguish that kind of a gap. It is far too short. You blink your eyes in 0.3 of a second. That is how close these drivers are right now. And Danny01 is looking to get a tow from Hazeti HD, who knows about it. Hazeti knows he's defending into turn 10. Can Danny01 sling it around the outside? Can he do a switchback? Both of them stop nice and carefully. Danny01 looking at the switchback there. Hazeti has it covered. Down they go into 11, then looking down for 12. We're looking to the point where Danny01 starts to have the advantage now as we come across towards the end of the second sector. This is not going to be easy for Hazeti HD to defend as they come around towards turn 14. We're looking now for the hill. There it is in the distance. Danny01 looking to be in the best position to try and get a move on Hazeti HD. And there he is. He closes right up into 15 now. Hazeti HD will breathe a sigh of relief that there was no cheetah car down the inside. Danny01 thinks about it for 16, but it is a very long straight here. Gets way over the curb. Hazeti gets way over on the exit, doing all he can to pick up all the speed he can to fend off this massively fast Honda racing car as they come around to start another lap. Rinaldi Edo has disappeared a little bit. He does have some space to play with, really. I mean, if he wants to go chasing Jimenez, he can do so, but he doesn't really need to. Just wants to hold on to that position and prevent Hazeti HD from finishing in third, which is exactly what Danny01 is trying to do, as he closes the gap once more to Hazeti HD before backing off just a little. I think that was more to set himself up, as we are now looking to build some extra speed out of this corner. Danny01 knows there might be an opportunity at the end of it. We're very close now. Look at that. Danny 01 is alongside. He's going to take space away from Hezeti HD into the braking zone here. But Danny 01 is on the outside. He is on the outside. Hezeti HD may get this done. Danny 01 goes deeper on the brakes. Doesn't quite get to the throttle early enough. Hezeti HD definitely had that move covered. So Danny 01 now looking at the outside again as they come around at the end of Sector 2. And Hezeti HD doing a fantastic job here just to hold Danny 01 out of that third place. Not that it matters, because these two are going to have a battle for the rest of the race. So we're seeing a penalty for X-Jazzy again. Another track limits penalty. Danny 01 is far closer at 14 now, closes that gap once more, looks towards 15 to carry more speed through the corner. Not quite enough. Is he going to have a go down into 16? It's a very long straight, remember. Danny 01 thinks about it, gets over the inside curb, thinks better of it there. He's got to get this job done somewhere it's comfortable for the car and where he can really drive away from the Full Labrada Racing Team driver. They're coming around to start another lap. There's not long left now. We're into 2/3 of this race is done. We are watching as Jimenez is performing his victory drive. He will be crowned champion at the end of this race. The Full Labrada Racing Team will be crowned team's champion at the end of this race. However, Danny 01 and Hezeti HD have locked horns in this championship. Danny 01 came in with a 5-point deficit, finished ahead of Hezeti HD in that first race. So this race is for this all-important third place, as we're seeing another penalty on screen for Rodriguez. This battle now 8th and 9th place. Rodriguez has got the penalty. Ivanhoe in 8th and Disappointment in 9th. As we're seeing that we have somebody in the pits. Oh, unfortunately, Rodriguez has not finished the race. That is a non-finish for Rodriguez, as we see another penalty on your screen. This is happening far too often now. Ganushi, unfortunately, for the HLZ team, as we're seeing Pablos now for the Hyperion team. Looking at the back of Cabeza Speed there, Pablos will be very happy with his performance here. There's been no dramas for Pablos, unlike in previous races where he has had unfortunate incidents that have seen him finish further back than he would like. But this is an almighty battle. Now, all the way up to third place ahead is Hezeti HD and Danny 01 still scrapping for that championship third place. And then you have Cabeza Speed with Pablos right behind. 5 laps remaining now. 13-lap race, almost a 2-minute lap, so it is quite a long time for these drivers to keep focused, to keep attacking or defending if you're Hezeti HD in this case. But Jimenez, what a stunning job Jimenez is doing. Still maintaining that gap, not doing too much, not doing too little. Keeping Rinaldi Edo behind just to secure his championship and bring it home on the top step. He will be loving that indeed. As we're seeing just a little further ahead, there seems to be a move. Danny 01's getting desperate now, trying to find a place to get past the Full Labrada car. He's down the inside of Hezeti HD there, and that allows Pablos to get down the inside of Cabeza Speed. I don't know whether he's going to get that done there, and he does, and Danny 01 didn't quite get the job done on Hezeti HD. But what's going to happen now? Cabeza Speed's dropped a little bit of space. Pablos is now going to close right up to these two drivers scrapping for third place. If anything goes wrong, Pablos could capitalise, and in fact Pablos could get onto these two drivers if they are not careful. But this is a scrap that is not dissipating. This is not going away. Hezeti HD is defending far too well to allow Danny 01 through, and Danny 01 cannot find the place or the space to attack that will give him that third place. Now with Pablos in right behind, there is even more pressure for both drivers. Danny 01 is tucked right in as they head towards turn 14. Down the inside he goes. This could be the move. This is the place where the Hondas can make it count. Wow, Hezeti HD goes wide, but Hezeti HD has definitely lost third place to Danny 01. If Danny 01 can bring this home, that means Danny 01 finishes third in the Drivers' Championship. but Hazeti HD is now under pressure from Pablos in a fantastic drive this time around at the Dubai circuit, at the season finale, round 7, World Touring Car Championship, looking at the inside, not quite going for it. We have just a few laps left before this championship is closed out. We are going to go for a little break after this championship, and by word, will these drivers need to have a little breather after this racing. It has been intense all season. There has been drama, there has been disputes, there has been contact, there has been battles, there has been some fantastic overtakes, and Pablos is thinking about those right now as he's lining Hazeti HD up for an overtake all of his own as we come around once more towards the turn 10 braking zone. Absolutely hard on the anchors, as hard as you can press on the pedal without locking the brakes. But Pablos thinks better of it this time around. Just close that gap a little more, take a little bit more space away from Hazeti HD, and just try and put the driver under pressure. See if he makes a mistake before you have to really send it down the inside. Now ahead, we still have Jimenez in first place, managing that gap between 2.5 and 3 seconds. We have Danny 01 chasing down Ronaldo. I don't think that's possible though. There is 12 seconds between them. We did wonder whether Danny 01 would get himself up onto that second place. We're not seeing that just yet, as Pablos is once again showing himself in the mirrors of Hazeti HD, choosing not to go for it just yet though. But look at how close they are now. This could be a move down into turn 1 as Pablos just tags on to the back of the Fuenlabrada driver. Gets down the inside nice and early enough so Hazeti HD can't defend enough from this position. Squeezes as much as he can, but Pablos says, no, thank you. That's my inside line, that's my corner, and that is my 4th place. Pablos takes it. Hazeti HD has to settle for 5th and will now go on the hunt to take that place back. Well done to Pablos. That was a fantastic move down the inside there as we're just closing out towards the end of the lap. But now Hazeti HD is looking down the inside. It's not enough. Pablos says, I'll give you space. I will give space, but I will keep this position. And once again, Hazeti HD trying to do what he can to get down the inside of the Hyperion eSports driver. This is a fantastic battle once again from Hazeti HD. Not giving any quarter, but being incredibly fair while racing at the same time. Down to turn 10 now. Hazeti HD coming to the inside, far too far back to make that work, surely. Oh, is there contact? There is contact. Fortunately, Pablos manages to keep going. Hazeti HD keeps going as well. Not too much time lost from either driver, but Hazeti HD definitely showing that he is frustrated with his performance, losing 2 places in just a few laps. Hazeti HD will now need to reset their head and go chasing, but I don't think Pablos is going to give that up easy enough. Right behind, however, Cabeza Speed should be in a bit of a battle with Disappointment. And then we also have a little bit of time between the rest of the field. So it's really a question of what's going to happen with Cabeza Speed and Disappointment, and when, not if, but when will Hazeti HD catch up? Will it be at the end of the race when it's too late? Or will it be before? There is not a lot of time for these drivers to get themselves sorted out, but it does look as if Pablos has disappeared. 2.5 seconds now. That's probably too much for Hazeti to deal with in the final stages of this race. So I would love to have a look at the battle between Cabeza Speed and Disappointment if we can flick to that, and then we will be able to see some racing. We have Jazzy swapping places with Ganushi further back, but this is the battle, the all-important battle, as we jump on board at the right time, because Cabeza Speed goes a little bit wide, handing 6th place firmly back to Disappointment, and Disappointment just ahead. You can see Hazeti HD there. Hazeti HD has fallen off the horse. Maybe the tyres are dead. Maybe Hazeti HD is going to struggle for the final part of this race. There is not a lot of time left. These two are squabbling. Cabeza Speed is trying to come back at Disappointment. We know both drivers are quick, both of them teammates of Danny 01, who's currently sat in third place. We know after the last race that these drivers have been practicing together, but Hossetti HD is losing time hand over fist from Pablos. That means Disappointment and Cabeza Speed, as Disappointment goes very wide there and earns himself another penalty. But Hossetti HD is getting ever closer to these cars. They will both be wanting to overtake the Formula Brada car, but meanwhile, they will be wanting to finish their battle nice and fairly. Although Cabeza Speed does seem to have dropped a little bit further back after going wide, obviously not wanting penalties, not wanting to suffer a drive-through penalty as we have seen in the first race. We are looking for the result of this. We are on the final lap. Jimenez is coming around. I'm not sure whether he's weaving yet, but he will surely be celebrating in that car for his championship and another race win. Look at Hossetti HD. He is struggling so much for pace now. A second and 3/10 is what separates Hossetti HD from Disappointment. This is all important for this last little bit of pride towards the last end of it. As Hossetti HD goes miles wide, and that allows Disappointment to come right alongside. He'll be on the outside around this corner, but that is no problem because Disappointment has all of the grip and Hossetti HD has none of it, and they will line up for turn 10. A bit of a squeeze there, that's probably a bit too much. You need to keep the car in the circuit. You can't crowd the car off the circuit. Hossetti HD, though, getting very, very aggressive towards the end of this. Disappointment now slings it down the inside of Hossetti HD. Gets that move done. Hossetti HD just has no answer. He has no grip. He's got no tires. And Disappointment gets up into 5th place, and that will be a great move. As more contact, ZTHD makes more contact with the Honda driver to take that place back. That's not something we like to see. We like to see things done fairly, but elbows are out, and ZTHD wants that 5th place. Disappointment wants it too, but ZTHD is not going to allow it to happen. There we go then. Across the line, Jimenez. Adrian Jimenez, your World Touring Car Champion of the 2021 League Virtual F1 season. There he is on your screen, confirmed race winner, and he will be race champion of this season as well. Right behind, we have Rinaldi Edo, but there we have the wrong car up on your screen. Adrian Jimenez is your race winner for the Formula Brada racing team. We're seeing Carlos Feno up on the screen. Commiserations to Carlos. He will finish the championship in 2nd place. Rinaldi Edo does give a congratulations to Jimenez as well as they finish the race. Rinaldi Edo in 2nd. And there we go. The racing team confirmed and settled. Formula Brada winning this team's championship. And what an almighty battle it has been. Race after race, drama after drama. But we now have everything settled as Danny 01 has come across the line in 3rd place to secure 3rd place for the drivers and most likely for the team's championship with both kamikaze drivers much further back. So that being an exciting way to finish the race. We're waiting for the final results, and then we will be able to give you the post-race warm down with a few drivers. So here we go then. Graphics changing on your screen. In any moment, we will have confirmation as Jimenez is just driving around a victory lap. There you go. So Jimenez finishes 1st, Edo in 2nd, Danny 01 in 3rd, Pablos, very good drive in 4th. Very proud of Pablos for that one. ZHD in 6th with Disappointment in 7th, Cabeza Speed in 8th, and Ivano in 9th. Asiete in 10th, I do believe, because we've got 2 6 places there, and Baba Gunashi should be in 11th, I believe, unless we're missing a number, because we do have 2 6 places there. This has happened again. If I jump across, I see we're missing a number 9 here. So Cabeza Speed would be in 7th, Ivanhoe in 8th, sorry. Asite in 9th and Bob Gunashi in 10th. So once again, the graphics not playing ball with us, but there are your standings, no drivers changing places due to penalties. And then if we can flick through to the next page, we will have confirmation that in that race, I believe X Jazzy did finish indeed in 11th place, but Rodriguez unfortunately did not finish the race and is classified in 12th. No 13th place Duarte did not start that race. But that was exciting. That was an absolutely fantastic race from most of the drivers. Plenty of drama all the way through all 13 laps. So we are going to move across to some adverts. We will be back with some drivers to get their views, their opinions, and their thoughts, and of course to congratulate Adrian Jimenez on a very difficultly fought but very good championship win. So join us in a few seconds. And welcome back, viewers, to the post-race show, and should we say the post-championship show. What an exciting end to the season. I'm sure a lot of the drivers will be happy that their hard work has paid off and that they've had some fantastic battles through this championship. We did have Jimenez as your race winner for both races and the championship winner as well. So Jimenez will be over the moon for that. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a microphone, so we might not be able to hear from him at any point today. But we do have a couple of drivers waiting to come and have a chat with us. We have Pablos, who had the stunning second place, season best finish in race 1, and a great fight back up into 4th place for race 2. And then we have Reynaldi Edo as well, who had a mixed bag of results tonight. Would have wanted more, but the battles were fantastic nonetheless. And he did, of course, do a lot of damage in terms of team points against the Full and Brada cars, but it just wasn't quite enough. And with Carlos Feno not here, of course, Rinaldi Edo and Rodriguez would have been flying the team flag and trying to hold Jimenez up, but that wasn't quite enough. So I'm wondering if we can have any of the drivers in for the moment. And here we have Pablos, the Hyperion esports driver. Earlier before this round in France, 3rd place. In Sweden, we had a 3rd place. And then today, race 1, we had a 2nd place, and a race 2, a 4th place. Pablos, how did that feel?
Hello, thank you very much for this introduction. Well, this race was kind of messy because in race 1 I had, I think, one big contact with two guys from the Honda team. I don't know which definitely team it was, but we struggled to keep on track. We were three wide, and basically we just crashed into each other. In the second race, I had other two unfortunate contacts. First of one, the Cabeza Speed, who was was trying to overtake his teammate. I think it was Danny, and he just ran into me because he didn't know I was alongside him. So he just went completely out of track. And second one, there was on the hairpin and the second sector. This one guy just dive bombed me, and I didn't know what to do. So I just ran into him and make him spun once again. So I'm not happy how this race went from my side, but I'm happy how the results are because this is what matters most. But I'm not sure I will keep these positions because of these contacts I've talked previously. So let's wait how it goes later.
Okay, but still, the racing that we saw was fantastic. I don't think that we saw too much contact that was untoward. It wasn't like earlier rounds when there was contact everywhere. So very well done for the results. Now, for of course a lot of the championship, there was a lot of bad luck that came your way with a lot of races where you had contact and finished further down than you would have liked. But to round out the final race of the championship with 2 good results, does that restore a bit of confidence and faith in amongst these drivers? And does it give you some renewed passion to go into another championship with?
Well, I think that these cars are very contact coming because they are closed roof. They are not open wheelers, so everybody knows that we can push a little bit harder. We can make harder battles with each other. So I don't take it personally that I was crashed or I was destroyed in many races. I tried to make this fun of it because I know that everyone wants to make the best out of their results. So I wasn't even making any protests about these crashes. Finally, this time it was the other way around. So I crashed some people, unfortunately, but this result is really building for me, as well as yesterday there was official Formula Challenge season star opener in from the studio of 397, the developers of R Factor 2. So I was starting there in Split 2 and I won this race. So I am really confident about my skills and how good am I.
Well, fantastic stuff, Pablos. Well, very well done for today, and we look forward to seeing you back out on circuit to show us more of those skills. And yeah, well done today, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, you as well, Pablos. So there you are. We had Pablos from Hyperion Esports, a second and a fourth today. Something we've not seen for a few rounds due to other unfortunate incidents. So very well done to the driver there. And then we have Rinaldi Edo, if we can bring Rinaldi in. Another strong set of results, a strong set of battles to add to the pretty impressive CV throughout this championship. But there were a few penalties that did hold Edo back in that first race.
Yeah.
Rinaldi, what were those penalties for? Was it track limits?
Yes, because I don't know what my teammate doing it. Because I I do side by side with him that just he just taken me out there, and then I just cut the track. So I have to I have one drive through penalty, and then I go to P9 maybe or P10, I don't know. But fortunately I got my pace back. Then I finished and in P4 in race one.
And then the second race was just as exciting. I mean, how much
Mm.
pressure were you under for that second race?
Yes, because Adrian is so fast. So I don't know what the setup is, but he is so fast. I just keep my pace to still to close with him. So I have to uh keep up my pace, but my tires doesn't uh my tires just give up until like three laps remaining or 2 laps remaining. So I just give up about to fight for P1. So I just stay for P2. It's okay
Yeah,
for me.
we saw that from Hazeti HD because Hazeti HD was under real fire from Danny 01 towards the last
Mm,
stage of the race, and he just couldn't hold on to the car on circuit. Was your
mhm.
car under a similar problem?
I think the tires are the problem for everyone. I think because this is like a sprint race, right? So the fuel is not the problem, but the tires maybe how you can conserve your tires and save your tires till the finish.
Fantastic. So the final sticking point is that obviously your teammate Fenno is not here, and that means the championship has disappeared to the rival team, who have also won the team's
Yeah.
championship. Um, I mean, will you be coming back into the next championship thinking that it's time for your team and your drivers to take the charge to the defending champions?
I hope so. I hope so because just yesterday I just got vaccinated my second dose. So this is not good for my body. I got I'm not so feeling well today, but yeah, I'm happy with my result today.
Well, considering that you've just had the second jab and I've got mine later, so I'm a bit dreading it as well. But
Yeah,
considering that, you've done a very good job indeed. So thank you very much for joining us, Rinaldi.
thank you,
Well
thank you,
done on some more strong results, and we hope to see you back for the next championship.
thank you, thank you.
So we have heard from a couple of drivers so far. We have Danny01 to speak to next, if we can bring him into the commentary booth. But what a strong result from Danny01. In fact, what a strong end to this season for the Honda driver for Team Cheetah. Um, this is one of those things where earlier on in the season, the Honda seemed to have average pace, just like everybody else. But towards the end, we looked at Croft, we looked at Road Atlanta, we looked at Macau, and now at Dubai, where the Honda seemed to have found something special. And the one driver capitalizing on that is Danny01. And Danny01, my, what an exciting pair of racers. How are you feeling right now?
Hello. Yeah, I'm really happy for the final results on the driver championship because, to be honest, I didn't expect it at the beginning of the championship.
Well, speaking of the championship, because that would put you in third place, so congratulations for the top three finish in the championship. And the second race was also a very difficult fight for third. I mean, obviously, Hazetti HD was struggling a bit for traction at the end. How were your tires? Were your tires okay?
Yeah, I was testing long stints before the race. Yeah, and I knew that the tires were going to be a problem for this race, so I tried to manage to don't have these problems on the race, and I think I did a great job for the tires because yeah, I saw like on the first on the second race some drivers like Josete had some problems with the tires, so yeah, I did a good job on it.
I think the evidence of that is where you finished. So very well done there. However, teams wise, teams has been a difficult story for a lot of the drivers so far. You were in a very tough fight with the Kamikaze Racing team. And today, I think you might have just topped them for that third place teams championship as well. So thirds all around. I mean, does that make you happy? Does it make the team happy? Does it mean you can come back and challenge the top two next time?
Well, I hope on the beginning of the championship to stay at least on the third place, but Miguel Angel, who was on Cheetah Racing team at the first race, then he had to leave, and we stayed like 3 or 4 races, just me and Cabeza. So we lost a lot of points on these races. And for example, Fuenlabrada Racing team uh, had uh, race more drivers on each race. I think I'm not sure, but yeah, at least on the middle of the championship.
Yeah, I can confirm that. I'm looking at the points now. So Labrada definitely had more drivers in better positions for most of the championship, which is how they've managed to beat the Sad Bombs GSR Racing team by, I think it's nearly 100 points. So it's very well done to those guys. Again, very well done to Jimenez for the championship as well. So looking at the future, Danny, I mean, obviously this is your thing. This is what you created, and it is absolutely fantastic. But what's next?
Well, now in August we are going to stay on holidays on this league like we do every year. So we are going to start on September some championship. We will vote it. We will do some voting on Discord on the next days, next weeks. So the drivers will decide.
Brilliant stuff. Well, congratulations for the results for yourself, Danny, for your team. Congratulations on putting together what's been a fantastic championship and a fantastic season. I have thoroughly enjoyed being the commentator, and I look forward to whatever comes next. Thank you for joining us, Danny.
Thank you, and thank you to you and Charles for your job every week.
It's my pleasure, believe me.
Thank you. Bye.
You're very welcome. Bye-bye, Danny. So there you are, everybody. That has been a thoroughly nail-biting championship. It's been exciting, and I have loved commentating on it every single minute. I am Alexander Rhodes. This is the first time I've commentated with these guys. I am so glad I got the invite to do it. So I would like to thank them from the bottom of my heart. And then we will see you sometime in the future. As you've heard from Danny, the next championship for Liga Virtual F1 will be starting in September after the motorsport holiday. We will see you there. Enjoy your holidays, and thank you for viewing. Bye-bye, everybody.